Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Iliska. That's French for hello everyone. My name is Iliska. It's very basic French, but I am able to strike up a conversation with a French speaking person. My name is Iliska Hamilton, and today I am going to be explaining the importance of bilingual education. As I just stated, I speak French fluently. I didn't learn French in my home. French was introduced to me at 5 years old when I went to kindergarten. I went to a school that offered French in the curriculum. They wanted to preserve the language of the culture of Louisiana, so French was mandatory in that particular school's curriculum. I studied the language until I still study French. That's my major. I studied it from elementary, junior high, high school, and now college. It's been beneficial to my life. It's been a huge asset to my life. It's added value to my career. I think it is extremely important that we teach our children another language. It doesn't have to be French, it doesn't have to be Spanish, it doesn't have to be Chinese, but we need to make it accessible for our children to be able to learn at least one other language early in their education. Why is it important to learn another language? I'll start with the very basic reason. Communicating. Imagine you're in a country, nobody speaks English, but you have to go to the restroom, or you need to find out where you're laying your head at, or you need to find out, hey, what can I eat? Where can I go to find something good to eat? But you can't ask that question because the other person doesn't understand you. Millions of people go through this every day. I discovered a love of traveling when I turned 18 years old. I went all over the world. The first thing I noticed the first time I ever left the country was there were directions at the airport in English. Whenever I would ask somebody for directions, I would ask in English, and 7 out of 10 chance of point of the time, the person I would ask for directions spoke English. Let's reverse that. A Spanish speaking person comes to you and asks you, "Can I go get something to eat? Where's this street?" Can you say, "Hey, it's this way, it's that way," in their language where they can understand? No. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. The chances are it's not likely. There are 38.3 million Spanish speakers in the United States of America. Most of them come from other countries. A small percentage of those people learned it here in the United States. So I think it's very important to learn a second language for communicating. Secondly, I think bilingual education is important for the future of this country. We are not an isolationist type country. We must communicate with the outside world. Even though we're in the Western Hemisphere across the Atlantic Ocean, and we don't have the advantage of going to Texas and they speak another language. They're going to speak English with a different dialect than you and I do, but you'll be able to understand what they're saying. In countries or in Europe, for example, you go to France and they can cross over to Germany and there's another language. There's a whole nother language and they're not that far apart. You go to France and you can go to Spain. If you go to a particular region in France, you go to Spain. They're not that far apart. So they kind of have to learn a different language to communicate with each other there. We don't have that advantage over here. Most people come to the United States and we have the attitude of, well, you coming to see us. Why should I learn another language? You decided to come here. That's not the attitude we should have, but unfortunately, that's the attitude that is implied. So if we can start bilingual education young in the curriculum and make it mandatory that our children know at least one other language, it will be helpful to this country as a whole. Once they grow up and they have this knowledge of another language, they can communicate with different people from all over the world. And thirdly, I think that learning a second language would be beneficial to children or people in general out of respect. Yes, respect. How cool is it, or how I am impressed when I hear Spanish people talking in English and then they talk in Spanish and they can go back and forward between the two. They respect our culture enough to learn our language. Why can't we offer them the same type of respect? Learning their language. It doesn't have to be Spanish, it doesn't have to be French, but they're interested enough in us to learn our culture, learn our language. Why can't we do the same thing for them? And English, trust me, English is not an easy language to learn. It's very picky, it's very nitpicky. These other languages, such as French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, they are all Romance languages. They come from a specific way. They're similar, they're not exactly right, but the roots all come from a Latin root. So if you know one language, you can pretty much figure out the other one. They are very compatible. They're not alike, but they're not exactly alike, but they're very compatible. Why can't we respect the other language to know that? Simply, that's simply what I wanted to say. Learning another language, has been beneficial to me. It's helped me in school. It's helped me on my social life, and it's helped me in my career field. My children are 3 and 4, and I'm proud to say they are familiar with both French and English. I know if a 3 and 4 year old can figure this out, us adults can at least learn the bare minimum of at least one other language in the United States and realize that we do respect other cultures. We can respect other cultures. We are able to learn another language just as well as other countries. It keeps, I hate to say it, but it keeps this nation competitive and on its feet. And that's what we need for the future generations of American citizens. We cannot be an isolationist type country anymore. People come from all over the world to try to become for a better life. And how better can their life be if they come to a country where more people are learning to speak their language? More people are wanting to learn Spanish. More people are wanting to learn Chinese. More people are wanting to learn French. And these courses are being offered in schools, especially in the elementary schools, because we have English second language classes, but due to a lot of budget cuts, those classes are starting to fade away. I've seen it firsthand. My children go to school in Bossier. There are a lot of military families here from all over the world, and they stick these children in classes where the teacher doesn't know their language. The teacher just knows English, and those children are eventually forced to learn the language. It's a very frustrating experience. I've witnessed it for these children, but they eventually get it. They are forced to get it, but they eventually get it. We should be able to do that too, willingly. This is America, home of the free, land of the free, but we can't bow down and say, let me learn French, let me learn Spanish. No, you speak English because you came here. That's most of our attitudes. It shouldn't be that way. And hopefully it won't be that way for long. I'm going to start, I'm going to do my part by teaching my children the value of learning another language. I hope that you decide the value. I hope that you pass this knowledge along. And even if it's picking up a Spanish for dummies or a French for dummies, at least be able to say, hola, ¿cómo estás? At least be able to answer or have a basic conversation. Are you hungry? You know, we should be able to do that. So I challenge you as an American citizen to learn another language. Show your value. Show that you can assimilate, if you will, to another language, because that's what they have to do when they come here. They have to assimilate to the American culture and the American language, and we don't always make it easy for them. So pick up another language.